Deaf culture sucks.
All right.
Deaf culture sucks.
Okay.
I think I'll just intentionally mumble for the rest of the podcast. It sounds kind of like
Well, the nice thing is that this podcast is now more artistic because we're eating cheese.
Bit a piece of ice and my tooth went off and it bit into my lip. Oh,
that sucks.
I haven't done that since I had braces.
I do it all the time.
It is really disconcerting when you lose a chunk of tooth, though. It's like those things aren't supposed to just have pieces snap off.
I bit into a frozen pretzel and that wire in the back went twang. It was just sticking out right into my cheek for about 3 days until I could go see the guy.
Okay.
That sucks.
I was like, give me some flipping fucking pliers, man. I gotta bend that thing, man. It's killing me.
Needle nose.
I think when that happened to me, I actually cut the wire off.
I think we ended up doing that later. We just cut it off like where the last connection was.
Did we all wear braces?
Sure. Apparently.
I think I wore them for like a record-breaking amount of time. It was like close to 5 years before I was done.
I think I only wore mine for 4, so I think you beat me out.
I think I wore mine for 4.
I don't remember how long.
I think 4 was a standard time, but mine took like 4.5 to 5 years.
School, and I was suddenly a much better trombone player.
See, we all have something in common.
Shocking.
We all had imperfect teeth.
Yeah.
Every time you talk to somebody.
Did anyone have the rubber bands?
Yes.
Everybody had.
The weird ones that like went
Up and down, yeah. I had a retainer for about 2 years after that until I just stopped wearing it.
I had a retainer for a long time, but the thing was I had it for a long time, but I wore it for about 2 weeks.
Well, so. I kept waking up with my retainer stuck to like my lower back, and then pretty much I just stopped wearing it there.
Yeah.
Bite me. Oh, God, it's me.
So biting your own back, that's a very dog-like thing.
I had like this permanent retainer thing with my braces, though. It was like this plastic piece that was on the roof of my mouth and was like wired in.
Yeah. Top. That's what I had too.
That thing was disgusting.
Yeah. Do you remember having to clean that thing? You're like,
oh
God, this is my mouth?
Yeah.
I just pulled it out one day in high school, and I didn't put it back in, and then it was like 3 months later, I was like, oh, God, I wore my retainer for fucking 3 months. I was like, yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have those. We had like the clear ones that go over here, but then it makes it look like you're always playing hockey or something.
Right.
Yeah. So like you're running around, people are talking, you're like, hasha.
So you sound like you're talking in Klingon.
Yeah. So like you take it out of your mouth, you put it in your locker, and you don't take it out till you graduate high school.
That was like pre-Invisalign. That Invisalign stuff is actually
That's
pretty
cool. I think that was like totally designed for adults that don't want to see braces anymore.
Meredith is actually just finishing up her run of those. Seriously, I can't tell when she's got them in or not.
Yeah, they're impressive.
Oh, you'll know.
What?
Totally
you'll
don't.
know if there's an accident. If she doesn't take them out in time. Yeah.
All right.
Everything comes to sex. You gotta remember that.
That would hurt, wouldn't it?
Deaf culture sucks.
I don't know. It might be smoother.
Deaf culture sucks.
Honestly, how I kiss her, I can't tell.
Yeah, you can't see it.
We're not talking about the kissing part.
Deaf culture sucks.
Well,
I bet,
I'm trying to keep it tame here, but
I've seen people put them in and you can't, and they smile and you're like,
yeah.
You wouldn't know unless you're like right here and you're like
staring at it, holding light up or something.
Deaf culture sucks.
Okay.
Would you like to write a song, Steve?
Yes.
Oh wait, it's only gonna have three words.
Culture sucks. Deaf culture sucks. Deaf culture sucks.
Deaf culture sucks.
Sucks.
Been trying to do the opening for like 3 minutes.
This is for blooper podcast part 2.
There isn't going to be much of a blooper podcast too because I haven't been editing that much.
Well, there's that.
Okay.
Well, get on it, boy.
Quiet, everyone. It means you, John.
He's not everyone. He's a somebody. You're unique like everybody else.
Oh, just do the intro.
Okay. August 20th, 2007. This is Diehard Gamer Radio, episode 31.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go!
You are listening to Die Hard Gamer Radio. the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Phenomena. And Def Culture sucks.
You have to do this intro while I'm doing the little thing. It's
Diehard Gamer had a problem, and it's down there now. Well, quiet you.
This episode brought to you in acapella.
Turn off your mics.
This podcast has backup singers.
All right. Don't complain if you're here till like 11 at night.
How come you can't talk while I'm doing this?
Because I'm trying to
just talk.
Ignore
him.
Well, welcome back to Diehard Gamer Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Murdock, and I have rockapella behind me. I've Steve, John, and Brian. Are you guys done? No. Okay.
Best podcast ever.
So fun.
All right. I'm just waiting for Steve to get.
I'm not gonna get tired. You better keep going. You're gonna run a hard drive space before I get bored of this.
Yeah. I'm here, Wes Riggs. Will that break him out of it? No. I'm turning off your mic.
Def Culture sucks. Def Culture sucks. Def Culture sucks.
All right. So our first gaming news is that Jenna Jameson game coming out. No pun intended.
Oh wait, this is more of a
coming out. Hey, I just saw Huggy Bear.
What's the game going to be about?
I don't know. I just hope
I'm not really a bear.
I just hope it comes out on the Wii. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I am all for better quality porn games. There just are not enough.
Better quality.
That porn games don't really come out. Yeah, that's exactly.
I was about
the point.
to say there was quality.
I have a point.
Is there really anything to say about Jen Jameson game? Other than it's there.
I think the only remotely porn-related game I've ever seen make a top 10 list was when it was Playboy's top 10 list. And they were putting the Playboy game on it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, gee.
You gotta pimp your own games.
Gee, what a surprise.
Yeah, so hope low, expectations poor.
Gotta keep your hopes up, though. Next up, Cho Neketsuko Kidokun Dodgeball, a.k.a. Super Dodgeball for the Nintendo DS. And I normally don't talk about sports games, but...
It's a Nikita Koko, actually.
Oh, yeah. It's Super Dodgeball, maker from the people who gave us River City Ransom. That Super Dodgeball, the greatest game on the NES ever.
Isn't this also based on the SNK game, Super Dodgeball?
Same company, Technos Japan, I believe.
Pretty good game.
Yeah.
So
it's a highly popular game on the MVS.
This is another opportunity to rebuy an old game on a Nintendo platform?
Correct.
Well, hopefully it won't suck. But.
And speaking of that,
another opportunity to rebuy an old game on Nintendo platform.
Arkanoid announced for the Nintendo DS comes with a special paddle controller that plugs into the GBA port of the Nintendo DS.
This is what handheld games need. More accessories.
Have you seen that other NDS game that came out with the optical reader on the bottom and you put it on the platform and you move?
I don't think that's out yet, is it?
No, it's coming out over here. Well, it's coming out over in Japan, rather. It's not released over here, but it actually has an optical laser on the bottom, just like a mouse, and you actually move the thing on the pad that you affix your DS onto.
What?
And
so
it actually moves the little guy in the game up and down inside there, depending on where you move the mouse. It's hilarious, but it looks like a neat little invention. I hope it gets more support. It's on. It was on NCS's website about a week ago. Okay. Yeah, you can actually see it in motion. It's kind of cool.
I think it's going to be hilarious if somebody clicks that in, takes it off, puts it on a concrete post, and sands the bottom of their DS off.
That'd be awesome.
So next up, the Season 10 DVD box set of South Park will come with a 15-day free trial of World of Warcraft for those who...
I don't think that this is very useful, because are there people that don't play World of Warcraft?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Shockingly.
But I don't buy South
they
Park
aren't
either.
anybody that wasn't going to play.
Well,
massively
yeah, it's like,
multiplayer
I bought
game.
South Park. Hey, this World of Warcraft. Well, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give that a try because
I
I
guess
don't
it's
have
an
like
interesting,
40 friends that don't want to get me to play.
It's got to be an interesting cross-merchandise concept, though, to mix that with a DVD. That's kind of wacky.
I guess.
I think it's just smart.
It's kind of like giving away gum.
Free gum with every purchase of DVD
Except
box
it's
set.
gum that's good for 15 days.
Well, I got more like little like cards to give to people to play 15 days worth of Warcraft that I know what to do with. So.
Because if you play for 15 days, they know they got a subscription fee out of you at
Well,
that point.
yeah,
You
and-
still have to like buy the full game to play after you get done with the trial, right?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, the trial doesn't unlock everything.
What is it?
You only get a certain
You'd
amount
have
of
to ask
area you can go to.
Tasty Boy. Well, there's certain stuff you can't do.
Yeah, but I thought you were limited to a
I
certain
don't
area
think
that you
so. I
could
think
move
there's
within
just-
too.
Well, I mean, there's
Yeah,
the
but-
practical application of you can't get to level 70 on a 15-day thing. But
Yeah.
it's kind of like the whatever in Eve where you could only get up to cruiser or something like that. You couldn't
Yeah,
get a
so you couldn't
battleship
get too
in
far
Eve.
into the
But
galaxy.
you couldn't do that in 15 days. Anyway,
Yeah, it'd be
so-
difficult to do, and ask Pasty. He did my little brother's little 15-day trial, and then he subscribed. I think he was actually able to download the whole client by BitTorrent or something like that.
I'm afraid that if I played it, I would like it, and then I would play it all the time, and I wouldn't like anything else. So
Well,
I'd rather like everything else.
one of
and
the
not
nice
play
things
it.
about World of Warcraft, don't want to get off too with things here, is that it encourages you not to play it. Because you actually get experience multipliers for being offline.
Huh.
So,
That's kind of wacky. You would think it'd be just the other way around.
well, they want to encourage people to be casual players over a long period of time. It extends their revenue stream out for longer.
Plus,
or
it helps for their
also-
Chinese audience, which is actually being imprisoned in
Well, I mean,
camps
it's
if they
not-
spend more than
but
3 hours
no,
a day
I mean,
on
you
it.
could totally still play. I mean, you could totally still play for that amount of time. It's just that you get straight experience instead of the experience plus the multiplier.
It's not so much about discouraging the hardcore as it is about letting the casual people play and enjoy.
Yeah, and be able to keep up with a hardcore.
Yeah.
Strange.
So next up is Technosoft making a comeback. God, I hope so.
I would.
That'd be awesome.
I'd buy a console for a new version of Zog's.
I know it'll be on a cartridge, but you'll
Even
buy
a $600 console.
So, because there's been recent activity on the website, and the site hasn't updated in like 11 years. So we're
That's
hoping.
kind of weird. Oh, hey, we got a website. Let me go
Oh,
find it
somebody
again. I
was still
haven't seen it
paying
in a
the
long
bills
time.
for it.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Is Technosoft still an independent company, or did somebody buy them way back in the day? Or?
a pachinko developer, I think it's called 21. It's like 21 Company or something. I'm sure Keegan will correct me. Bought Technosoft, and they kind of got assimilated like the Borg. And we haven't heard from them since. And hopefully,
Your
they might
factories will
be
become
coming
one of
out
the collective.
with a game.
Did they ever
or
do
something.
a pachinko version of Herzog's Vi? Because I'd buy that too.
A strategy game-based slot machine,
Yes.
pachinko
Yes.
machine.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It would be beautiful.
How would that work?
Well,
a
you drop
pachinko
the
machine
balls
where
in
you
the
take
slot like
turns.
any other
You have to wait for the
pachinko
enemy to like drop pachinko balls, and then you go. Like, no, fail.
All right, so.
But Thunder Force 6,
yeah.
please. Thank you.
Oh, God, yes.
All right. Next up, Sega comes out with a game with the longest title
Let me do this one.
ever.
Let me do this one.
Okay.
Romanized from Japanese, it is Kyoto Daigaku Atsuji Tetsuji Kyoja Kanshu Zaidan Hojin Nihon Kanji no Ryoku Kentai Kyokai Kyoryoku Kanji Torin Putaburu. Jesus.
That does beat out the King Kong game by a little
It,
bit.
it translates to Kyoto University Professor Atsuji Tetsuji's Foundation Japanese Kanji Official Ability Certification in collaboration with the Portable Kanji Trainer Association.
There's a portable kanji trainer association.
Yes.
Thankfully, it abbreviates to Kantore.
You can't make tax write-offs if you
Why
don't
couldn't
have
they
an
just name it
association.
that in the beginning?
Well, you know what's
That
gonna
makes
you,
Yeah.
you know what's going to happen.
There's
They're
not
gonna
going to be a picture in the box. It's going to have all the words. We ran out of space. Sorry.
It's strange. It's like 3 kanji. I don't just.
It's like this ad I saw
that
for a
like,
webcomic today that was actually a paragraph. It was just text. It was like it was a banner ad. It was like 768 by 60 or whatever, and it was just text on a background. And you're like, What?
Was it a pixel comic?
No. It was it started with, "Hi, my name is." I'm like, what? Is it
going to use like three kanji
my
together, like
webpage
dragons roaming, and you've got like
secret message.
50 strokes between the three of them?
I don't know. It's really
it's 75 stroke kanji.
Well, we were just talking about dragons roaming, and I remember dragon, I think, was like a 20 or 30 stroke kanji.
No, it's only like 15.
There's a lot
well,
of
it
strokes
depends
in it,
on
but
what
then you
dragon you use.
If you're the old form.
Well, if you use like green dragon's like a 30 stroke kanji.
Yeah. But the sad thing about this is they'll probably come up with a sequel, and it'll probably start off with Super Hyper at the beginning.
Yeah, and it'll be the same title.
And then, Dash Turbo, Upper.
And at the end, they'll say, of
Max
course,
with
thankfully it
matching service.
abbreviates to
Championship Edition.
Shi Kantore.
Well,
that's
We're going
ridiculous.
to need hyper fighting kanji trainer to.
Yeah.
How would that work?
Championship edition.
If you would beat the words out of your opponent.
Yeah, pretty much.
Beat your opponent to get the correct stroke order. That might work. But anyway, moving on. Sophitia, Cassandra, and Voldo announced for Soul Calibur 4.
Also, Voldo is relevant to Murdock's interest.
No, Voldo is not.
Actually, Voldo's more my character, but
Every time I see
interests.
No, he's just more the character I play.
No, every time I see Voldo, I think of the Marilyn Manson song, "The Beautiful People." The beautiful people, because he looks like a freak. But well, he's a freak. But Sophitia and Cassandra are relevant to my interests.
Yes.
And also, I should mention that Soul Calibur 4 is turning into Boob Calibur 4. Just thought I'd mention that.
After reading about how it's going to play, I'm not buying this one. It's going to be horrid.
Have they announced some changes to it now, or?
It's no longer a fighting game. That's one.
Well, are you sure you're not confused?
The Soul Calibur Legends, the Wii one, that's going to be like.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I am confusing the two.
Yeah, Legends is going to be
the.
the Death by Degrees of the Soul Calibur series.
How could they do that to that series?
Soul Calibur 4 looks like you still punch people in the face.
Well,
if there's punching, I'm there.
Stab them in the face, really.
Yeah.
You
With
press,
whatever implement you have.
You keep tapping A in their face.
Yes.
So, moving on. G-Rev working on a new game, and G-Rev is the people who do Under Defeat, Senko no Ronde,
Border Down!
and Border Down, or Wartech, for those of you who...
Under Defeat's a beautiful game. I'm looking forward to anything they're putting out.
So what was your final opinion on Wartech?
I still haven't put enough time into it, but I think it was kind of a better game at a cheaper price.
You're saying
there
it was
isn't
bad.
enough to it. It's a cool concept, but I just don't. There's not enough
Improperly
meat
priced.
to it.
Yeah,
Well,
it was
it's
way
not
too
that
expensive for
of a
what you
game,
got.
But yeah, I still paid
That's
like 40
improperly
for it.
priced.
I think it was like a $20, maybe $30 game at best, and even then,
What was the MSRP on that?
I think it was $49.
Yeah, they did release it slightly under the standard retail.
It's either $49 or $39, but it's still, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's enough there to it, not enough meat to the game.
But they haven't announced what type of game it is, but more than likely it'll probably be a shmup.
You think?
Science
Do you
point,
think?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you ever seen G-Rev do anything else?
On the other hand, they could
They're gonna
suddenly
make-
swap
yeah.
it around and
It's
come
going to
out
be
with a turn-based
Cookie
strategy
Mama
game.
clone.
Yeah.
Oh, like IRAM with R-Type Tactics, the turn-based shmup.
Be a good choice.
Yeah. It's going to be
Hey, that's
going to
be interesting. I'm going to give that some
I
time.
hope they bring
I'll
it
wait
out
till I
in the
try it.
US, because I bet that would be a hard one.
They're going to make a
Japanese.
Civil War turn-based strategy.
Well, it takes that long just to reload, so
Yeah.
it's turn-based anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
Good point.
Next up, Famitsu readers excited and enthralled by Wii Fit.
They have nothing else to do.
Well,
Apparently DDR was just a little too
They have
hard
to
for him.
yeah.
or-
they have
Yeah,
to
but
get
come on,
groped
like-
by the Chikan on the subways. That's what they need to do.
You're like, look at this list. Like, number 6 is announcement of the Zapper for the Wii.
Well-
it's like a $20 plastic gun that lets you do the same things you could already do with it.
Well,
Here, but it holds it into a gun emplacement
Oh, yeah.
sort of.
well, here's the setup. It's Famitsu asked readers what they thought of the 10 recent news events, and
Did they pick the news events?
yes.
Oh,
And
well,
Wii
so
Fit-
this is already retarded.
Yeah, so the Japanese readers said
So it's
that
multiple choice.
so the Wii Fit was the thing that really excited them.
Now, if this was like write-in, I would actually think it would be like more useful. That kind of explains how Peter Moore showed up on here. Because
I have a really hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing that MGS4 is not number 1.
I would think that would be more exciting too, personally.
I mean, for one thing, we fit.
I mean, and I personally find Peter
apartments
Moore
in Japan.
leaving Microsoft to go to EA more interesting than Super Smash Brothers Brawl. But
and how does the new PSP model make it to number 2?
Yeah.
Ask the Japanese. Don't ask me. I just,
I
just
not
steal the news from other sites.
Information from this. I believe it to be wrong.
Yeah, as do I.
Japan, you're wrong.
I think it's a bull poll.
A bull poll. Didn't he direct Blood Rain?
No. He was the guy who was the bailiff on Night Court.
That's a really esoteric reference.
It's not really esoteric, but talk about non sequitur.
Oh man.
Can't count how many hours I wasted on that show. It was a funny show.
I bet Bo would be a good video game player.
Probably.
Seems like the kind of guy who could do good at it.
Yeah.
If not, he beat the shit out of the system.
I don't think he ever beat the shit out of anybody, though.
No, he just kind of looked at them and was
something.
bald.
Yeah.
He dragged a few guys out.
When did I watch that show? Oh yeah, Marky Post. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the prosecutor?
Oh, Dan the Man
John
Levitan.
Larroquette.
Yeah.
He's actually got another show right now where he plays some sort of lawyer that goes out and finds there's some sort of Matlock-esque thing.
Oh, good, because
he's always falling into that vein.
Matlock, son, here's your John Larroquette, son.
Didn't he do that sitcom where he was like an alcoholic?
The John Larroquette show.
Yeah.
Nothing funnier than alcoholism.
It's true.
That's why I watched Shakes the Clown.
Except maybe crack.
You watched Shakes the Clown?
That, and they went and beat up mimes. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Beating up mimes was,
So what do you got here?
Next up, gamers don't know their own consoles. So Ars Technica.
I think this is actually PS3 owners don't know their own console.
Ars Technica reports on a survey, and they got over 6,000 responses that indicates that 40% of PS3 owners knew their console included Blu-ray. So apparently 60% of the people that were surveyed had no idea that the PS3 could do Blu-ray or play games.
And 25% of them didn't know how to use the pole properly. So
I would expect 50% of them didn't know it played something other than Madden.
Well, that's true.
And you got to understand that that's not just relevant to PS3, but it's the same with the Xbox 360. I mean, about 50 or 60% of the people that bought that didn't know it had HD capability.
It's a different crowd buying these things than back in the day when you're like, hey, my NES, if I went to Japan, I could get the sewing machine adapter.
Well, yeah, but back in the day, too, we all had the same standard TVs. There was nothing really special about one TV to another. Now they're all coming out with different standards of HD and different sizes, 480i and 1080i. So, I mean, not everybody has these things, and they don't know it.
Yes, there's the progressive scan and the conservative scan.
Too. I mean,
yeah.
You can hook them up to a network. You can have them interact with your computer. You can, download
But I'm betting you most of the people that buy these don't have that. Yeah, but I'm betting most of these people that buy this.
They don't read the manual.
Well, I'm not reading the manual either, but my excuse is that I know what the hell I'm talking about.
My point is, I'm betting most of the people that buy these systems don't buy them with a big setup in mind. They don't have this big high-def setup with the huge surround sound, and they're going to incorporate it into it. They're just plugging it into some TV and using it for an interface. It's not really...
Well, my question is, why are you buying a PS3 then?
Yeah, I would bet a lot of the people who are buying these things actually do have good systems because these are still at high price points. If you can spend $600 on a console, you probably spent $600 on
You're probably right with the Wii because that's the whole Wii's marketing standpoint is, pick it up and plug it in. But if you're buying a PS3, you went through the pain of finding a PS3 at the point. And then, you
what do you mean finding one? They're everywhere.
They weren't, though. They're not selling anymore. So
well, my other point, too, is maybe they spent all the money they had buying the console, and they can't afford a surround sound and a nice TV.
Well, they can't afford games
They can't afford games either. So
it's watching the green light.
They're like, I've got a giant toaster in the middle of my living room. Well, it keeps the place warm.
Thank God the Sony store opened.
Some poor college kid is using a PS3 as a space heater.
They could add their system to the collective for computing power.
If they could have only afforded a controller.
And a network cable.
Yeah.
Well, it may be that they all have these powerful setups, but 60% of these people didn't know it. So that makes me wonder why they didn't know that if they had a setup that could use it. You think they would read the manual and check that out?
Some people just buy it and just say, oh, it's just here for games, and it doesn't seem like a lot of these other features are as well advertised as just the game-playing features. So people may just simply don't know.
That is an interesting statistic to fold into the HD DVD Blu-ray war stuff, though, because Blu-ray camp saying they've sold 3 times as many consoles, but 400,000 of the 600,000 are like PS3s. So if they don't even know they're Blu-ray players,
and 60% of those don't know that they bought a Blu-ray player, so apparently they're not using it.
They're missing half the functionality.
Yeah, well, as functional as Blu-ray can get. So, moving on.
But another point with that, too, is, Blu-ray is losing ground. Paramount just decided to take an exclusive agreement with Microsoft to use HD, and they're not going to be putting any more stuff on Blu-ray. So
Microsoft's involvement in that is pure speculation.
Well, it is a rumor, but I'm sure there was something that swayed them to it because they were very pro-Blu-ray in the beginning, and now all of a sudden they've switched camps.
A hybrid player when it's affordable anyway. So the whole exercise is like this dick-sizing war that they're having when they're just waiting for somebody to put out a console that'll play both of them, and then they can both sell as much as they want.
Well, as expensive as each one is right now,
gets to $100 for a player.
Yeah.
Well,
considering how much each individual player is on its own.
They can already get there. They already got their DVD players, though, and they're already putting out titles for the DVD players. So, unless
how many years was it before there was an affordable DVD player? It was like 5 or 6 years.
It was. PS2 came out.
Yeah, it literally that was like the break.
Difference between your VHS and your DVD was so much. There was a big difference there. If you don't have like an HD TV, your difference between the two are like.
Well, you say VHS to DVD too, but there was also Laserdisc to DVD.
Well, yeah, but how many people bought Laserdiscs?
I knew of more than a few that had them.
Yeah, but of the market, very few.
Of your group, you might be able to consider many of them early
adopters.
They
were
really adopters at all because
they're definitely audiophiles, but.
Hey, I love my Laserdisc player, okay?
We don't need to know what you do when you're not doing the podcast.
Editing the podcast.
I rub the LDs up and down. Round and round.
Number 11.
Megazone 23 to become game on the PS3.
Why?
Character designs not by Haruhiko Mikimoto.
Why?
I saw the character designs. They were kind of suck-worthy.
Why?
We know why.
But Megazone 23. Seriously.
Well, apparently the company got a message from Todd and Kelly.
Apparently.
And a PS3 game at that.
Oh, Jesus. Seriously. Do they have to reach that far to get a franchise? Megazone 23?
Does this have anything to do with the popularity of Penny Arcade getting its own game?
Megazone 23?
Yeah, a webcomic?
Well,
no.
Oh, no, that's the manga.
That's the weird spin-off of Macross.
From 83.
I guess I haven't kept up on that.
Yeah, I can't go slow because it's quick. Oh, wait, there's Akira.
Yeah.
It's that.
I haven't even followed it.
It's that Macross thing that never. It's the other Macross one that never made it into like a Robotech thing. There was Orgus and Megazone 23.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So Megazone 23 was like
I never connected that. I never considered that
type
connected to it.
Thing.
Yeah. Well, it was an
none
OAV.
of them connected to each other.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of the original OAVs that came out soon after Dalos. Dalos was the first OAV that came out in Japan, and then Megazone 23 followed like a year later. But that was the one that was actually financially successful.
Well, there's a whole sordid tale of like how the intellectual property for Macross got split up between people. So.
No. That's why the movie
and then
has
there's
not
Harmony
come out on DVD.
Gold that
oh god,
claims
Gold.
that they own Macross somehow. And it's like the SCO of the anime world.
and Studio News like
what?
It's
like, so were you guys even in existence when we did Macross, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so
it's the SCO of anime.
Yeah, so Megazone 23.
Yeah.
Probably not the old anime franchise I would use to make a video game.
Well, they already did Gundam, so they're...
Well, yeah, but there hasn't been a good Gundam game.
I think the only way this would succeed is if Koei picked it up and turned it into one of their Warriors franchise games.
Yes. Well, they're trying it with Gundam, so...
Gundam Musou.
Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah.
Are you picking that up, Brian?
No. You know how hard that is on your hands after about half an hour? I played the original Dynasty Warriors when I bought the PS2 on the opening day, and Jesus Christ, that wore me out then. There's no way in hell I'd be playing
Project
this.
Sylphid actually. Project Sylphid's kind of like Dynasty Warriors in a ship.
Maybe you need like the maybe you need just the Death Blossom or something, so you can take a bunch
you
of
get
rounds
that
at a time.
you get actually in Project Sylphid, not to digress too far, but Project Sylphid has special moves, and not just like you can do a barrel roll. But
you can do a barrel roll and fire.
Well, they have you hold down the thing for a certain amount of time and you use a certain amount of shield energy to do it. So there's level 1 where it fires all your weapons at once, locks up all your missiles at once, and fires at the end of the thing.
I love Macross.
Yeah, the second one I can't remember the second one's a ramming attack.
One? Oh, okay.
And the third one is it freezes time and lets you go around and lock onto stuff. And then when it unfreezes, you fire everything, so you can. It's like
so you can lock onto everything on the.
Well, it sounds cool.
It's cool for about. Yeah, I mean it's.
Huh? I didn't try that in the demo.
The only problem with Project Sylphid, and I was talking about this earlier, is that their radar is way, way too useless. It's too small, and you fight so many enemies that the entire radar is just a big blob of red, and you can't differentiate anything.
And
so
it
you're
sounds like
retardar.
You can't tell what your mission objectives are.
It sounds like they also wanted to drop the difficulty level, so they de-emphasize the dogfighting and emphasize pressing button.
Why not just make a harder version you can play?
Well, I mean, in traditional space sims, you're basically it's dogfighting in space with some carrier attacks and stuff like this. Your main weapon is
TIE Fighter.
Your main weapon is your missiles. Your anime missiles. I mean, they wanted to make it like Macross space fighting. That's pretty much what it is. Dynasty Warriors in space, but you fly around, you do a bunch of maneuvers, you lock onto a bunch of stuff, you wait, and you fire, and all the missiles go.
The octopus missiles
go around, and they go around stuff, and there's all that sort of thing. And all right, well, 25th anniversary of the compact disc.
Yeah, that's our next news here. So happy silver anniversary, no pun intended, for the compact disc. What do you mean,
In other news,
Plastic
Ria
Media
is still trying to plug the hole.
There's this hole in the middle of the disc. I don't understand it.
People can listen to our music.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Moving on to number 13, which is highly interesting.
Yes. EA, along with other companies, are getting caught cleaning up their own Wikipedia entries. I'm forcing you to go into the room and play Daikatana. Turn off your phone.
Yeah, this is hilarious. I read about this on Kotaku, and I was like, not only are they going in and wiping out entire paragraphs of bad publicity, they're putting in their own spin to make themselves sound good.
Well, and
that takes some effort.
It's kind of been assumed that companies have been doing this since the beginning of Wikipedia getting popular, but the thing is...
but now somebody wrote a program that tracks the IP
there's sites
usage.
that you go look at an article and it says, all right, well, here's the edits and here's what the IP address is mapped to, and this is the changes they made. Unless you actually sub-select and say, all right, well, I want to select for these IP addresses and see what they changed.
Yeah.
Although it was hilarious when this came out, because the mainstream media was talking about CIA edits, and all the gaming press was talking about EA edits.
EA, CIA.
And the news media had just been talking about the Fox edits. Everybody's editing in some sector. Nobody got caught till this point.
Well, sometimes they get caught.
So EA...
We caught Manny.
Well, EA went into their own Wikipedia entry, removed all references of Trip Hawkins, who actually started EA, and then removed the whole EA spouse debacle. That was the
guy's wife.
Yeah, the guy's wife that posted that live journal that said, "Oh, by the way, EA is like killing my husband very slowly."
Sucking the blood out of him drip by drip.
Was there any other companies that were pulling this kind of shenanigans, or was EA pretty much like...
I think they were the big boys. That's why they got noticed.
And then certainly we'll keep seeing these coming out now that it's just one search away.
Well, now that you can track them. Let this be a lesson to those out there trying to change their entries. Use multiple IPs, different locations.
Don't do it from work.
Get an internet cafe somewhere, you schmo.
Or, use factual information. But
You're actually going to this much trouble to hide things. Why don't you at least, make the trouble to hide the things? Don't just fucking do it from your bathroom and a laptop or your office or something.
This is some guy with a tie in a corner office going, ooh, I can go to Wikipedia and make our company look better.
No, he's in the marketing department. They're like, we need a positive spin. Yeah, I can do that from my laptop.
From his corner office.
Yeah.
Let me start with what's bad and make it good.
Well, it's like I need to go out and kick some developers. All right, let's do some work.
Although, I bet it'll actually work out for them. And if you can pay somebody to be more persistent than the masses, which forget pretty quick.
Hey, it worked for Sony until they noticed that their all I want for Christmas is a PSP site was
all you need to do is counter,
idea.
You counter somebody who's getting paid to put out good publicity with somebody who's not being paid to get rid of bad publicity. That guy's not getting paid, and he's still doing it. The other guy's going to stop doing it when he goes home.
Yeah.
Unpaid obsession is more effective than paid obsession.
You can't pay enough for that kind of obsession.
So it apparently worked though, because they managed to get rid of the EA spouse stuff and everything.
Yeah, but then 5 seconds later they reinstated it.
Yeah. Well, once this news story came out, but it was gone from the article for ages. I mean, that's why the edits were interesting.
Well, now that somebody actually knows, now people care, and then I don't think it's going to go away at this point.
For about as long as the EA spouse thing was a big deal. That died down and disappeared too.
Oh, so there's somebody out there who really hates EA.
I think there's more than one person.
Yeah,
starting to see after the bugginess in certain games.
It's going to be like the self-appointed Wikipedia guardians for the EA article.
Well, all we need to do is
they wear red berets and roam the internet streets at night.
No,
they do little dances.
No, we don't need people to do that. We'll just have Ubisoft do that.
Yeah, get the Tom Clancy-ites or the
Clancy-ites.
Yeah, Rainbow Six.
The Clancinators. All right.
What else you got?
The Dreamcast will have 2 new games coming out in 2008. That is Doll Force, which is a shmup with a 4-player mode.
Made by the makers of Last Hope.
And the other one is Wind and Water Puzzle Battles.
Also made by the same makers.
I don't know if that's done by the Last Hope people.
It is. They're both coming out by them. It was announced on Kotaku today, too.
So they figured out how to make bootleg games. They're going to keep making them.
The puzzle game's actually a revamp of an older version of it, so it's nothing new. The vertical shooter, on the other hand, is totally created by them and ought to be interesting.
And hopefully will not be ungodly hard.
I'm kind of curious to see what it's going to look like after seeing how well they did with the horizontal shooter. It was hard, but, it was really pretty.
Yeah, great. 4-player shooter. I have 3 friends now that'll steal my power-ups. Thanks.
Have you played Age of Swing, though?
Have I played what?
Age of Swing?
He doesn't have a 360.
Yeah, 4-player shooter. It works well.
Next time we get together, the 360.
No, I have played Age of Swing. Roger, when I was over at Rogers, he's like, hey, there's a shooter that's free on the Xbox. I'm like, oh, must suck. It's like, it's Age of Swing, and I played it, and then it's like, when I get to the end stage, and Roger's like, God, you suck.
Yeah.
It's like
it's not an entirely hard game, but it was cute.
The single player is that exciting, but the multiplayer is really where the game is at, and they emphasized it, and they really make the co-op part of it work.
Yeah. Like I said, 3 other people to steal my power-ups. So, moving on. More developer complaints about Unreal Engine 3.
Surprise.
So,
Unreal developer complaints from people that aren't doing Duke Nukem Forever?
Yes.
Wait. People are working on Duke Nukem Forever?
Yes, and they complain about every engine they have to worry about, just so they don't have to put out the game.
That's because they've licensed every engine.
Yeah, that's worked for what, 12 years?
Man, I don't like the Quake engine. Let's use something else. Well, it's 2007 now. Let's use the Unreal 1 engine.
So maybe you make some progress if you didn't have to start from stage 1 every time.
Maybe they should use the Tetris engine.
Yes. I endorse
Wait
this.
long enough and there'll be an
engine
engine
they should really, at this point, just use the Duke 3D engine.
Yeah. So, what is going on with the Unreal Engine, or is it just that it's a pile of poo?
What?
Well, it can't be a pile of poo, because the games that have come out with it are some of the prettiest games on the systems.
Well, pretty doesn't mean good.
I haven't heard anything
about
it.
Gears of War is pretty good.
Graphics engines, pretty is pretty much your benchmark.
Well, okay, if I want good-looking games, I don't want good-looking games. I want good playing games. Are these
that
games
doesn't have anything to do with the game engine.
All right.
It looks really good on the PC also.
I don't know. Who's complaining about this? I haven't heard any of this other than the Duke Nukem Forever dorks.
I don't think they're
I
actually
thought they
using
were being
Unreal Engine 3,
sued by
but
somebody
not?
too.
Dennis Dyack, who is doing Too Human, is currently suing them for not meeting their contractual obligations and getting it out.
Oh yeah, I heard about that because they weren't at E3 because of blah blah blah, and it sounded like a bunch of bullshit to me.
And the other thing and one of the things that he was alleging that is actually pretty verifiable was that all the games that were using that engine were having frame rate problems.
Now, frame rate being what, like less than 30 frames a second?
Well, under
there
40
was
is actually not very
occasional
good.
Huge frame rate dips that all the games
Yeah.
that are being shown. I mean,
On a
maybe they
PC,
were
you want to have at
optimized,
least 40 for most games.
It did
just
look
to run
like that was a
minimally.
pretty consistent problem with them, and the other developers have been complaining about managing to smooth out the performance. This one we got is from the Dark Sector developers, who were saying that the reason why we're not seeing a lot of the PS3 games making their deadlines is because these PS3 games that are using Unreal Engine 3, it's just not done yet. So they can't ship their
Can't
games
do what you
'cause the
haven't
engine
got.
isn't done.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well.
we'll see how that goes.
I'm having a funny feeling that the PS3 is not going to meet that 200-plus game expectation by February of next year.
Well, I
Or
kinda
was it
like
300?
The moral of the story of this is the PS3 is hard to program for.
Just like the PS2 was.
Well,
Seem to remember that being the major complaint for about a year after it came out also.
hell, a year?
Well, okay, it was a couple of years, but still.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, you have to tell the engine what you want it to do. Thanks. Good luck. So,
This note brought to you by people who hate E3, or who hate Unreal Engine 3.
well, there's people that hate E3.
Yeah, well, maybe they're one and the same. Could be because they didn't show up.
So,
Moving right along.
our last gaming news, PETA offers blatant ripoff of Super Mario Brothers on one of their websites. And this is a Flash game called Super Chick Sisters on KentuckyFriedCruelty.com. It is to inform consumers of the Holocaust-like atrocities that befall chickens before they are butchered and cooked
Godwins
over at
it in
KFC.
the first sentence.
Allegedly.
It Godwins itself in the first sentence. That's amazing.
It's awesome.
It is PETA. I mean, they kind of
Fried
Godwin
Cruelty
themselves
dot
before they
com.
open
Are the
their mouths.
chicken also addictive and not able to prevent you from getting pregnant?
It's just like that Futurama episode. Stop eating them fried. Yeah, but they're so good.
So did we have anything to say about PETA? Because, if we start talking about PETA, I'm going to start getting pissed off.
You're gonna get sued
By who?
by Nintendo.
I'm really wondering
I
about
don't
this
know.
one because they're using Mario and Luigi. I don't
Well,
think
they're-
it really qualifies as parody. It might.
There are small chicken-like creatures that look
Well, the
that wear the
cutscenes have
same.
Mario and Luigi in them.
Well,
Are they making any money off of this?
No.
Well,
I don't think they're going to get sued.
but PETA has money.
Yeah.
But PETA's not making this a download that you pay $3 to get.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I'm saying.
You don't have to make any money for people to sell it. For people to sue you for it if they think it's gonna affect the reputation
Damage
of
their
your
copyrights.
characters or
I
something.
don't.
Well, there's
think-
also
yeah.
the whole trademark thing that if you fail to defend it, you lose it.
Yeah.
well, also, with the whole Super Mario Brothers thing, I don't know if Nintendo gave PETA any permission to do it. I highly doubt it.
I didn't see anything saying Mario and Luigi are copyright of
Yeah,
Nintendo. So
A license.
Nintendo's
used
pretty
for
strict
permission
about
of-
their own stuff. They don't just give it out to
Yeah,
anybody
plus-
either.
Plus, I don't think PETA will be going to Nintendo for ethical treatment of animals,
We want to
especially
associate
like
Mario
in
and
say
Luigi
Pokemon.
with the Holocaust.
well, in their cutscenes, they've got the people for the ethical treatment of turtles beating up Mario for beating up turtles.
Well, yeah,
That's excellent.
So
yeah,
That's parody.
yeah.
It might
Beating
be, I
beating
don't know.
Goombas with
I think it's going to be written off. I think Nintendo's got more time and money invested in breaking up fake Wii games out in the middle of Mexico, honestly.
I don't know. They
My
got a lot
guess
of money.
is,
They could probably spare a lawyer or two.
My
They
guess
really
is that
wanted to.
Nintendo won't sue them because it would be bad press to sue PETA.
It
I
would.
bet they'll probably send them a cease and
Yeah.
desist order.
Yeah.
I would totally like pay to see somebody sue PETA.
Now it's probably the game is just different enough that I
Maybe
don't.
I think PETA's
with a good double feature of suing, right to life or something.
I think PETA is
Just
just
different now.
actually fanatical enough that they would go after Nintendo on their website and start claiming things and
I'm sure
doing
they
things.
would, but,
yeah,
I don't think in the end it's
What
worth
are they
it.
going to claim from Nintendo that Nintendo,
Hey, Nintendo
Mistreats
eats chicken.
No, it mistreats animated creatures.
Although if Nintendo sues them, I bet PETA would be saying that Nintendo is supporting Kentucky Fried Chicken killing chickens.
That's what I'm saying. They're fanatics, man. I don't
Well, they
think it's
could,
something
but,
you want to
you
even
know,
get in the middle of. Just let it go. It's not harming you. You're not losing money
the
off
animal
of
that Ramune comes from is
actually,
being killed
the whole
mercilessly.
trademark thing actually is an issue because even if they're harmless, if somebody's using your trademark stuff and you don't defend it, you can lose it.
Yeah.
So you have to.
At
It's
most,
not like
they'll
a
send
copyright.
a cease and desist order, and you'll see the game drop off in a couple of weeks or something.
Well, I don't think
It'll
anybody's
have been
playing
just
it
a little
anyway,
thing,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be weird to see what happens, but man, I can't remember seeing anybody else take Mario and Luigi and Princess Peach and just run them around doing whatever the hell they wanted to.
Yeah.
It is unexpected.
That's funny because I saw a YouTube video last week of that. Of course, it was all guys acting as those characters, but it was pretty funny.
Was it Rule 34?
No, I think it was either Mario or Luigi was high on shrooms and he couldn't get off them, and the princess was pissed off and she kicked him out, and he just had to get that other power up going. And
See, now that's funny stuff.
Wow,
That's funny stuff.
Yes.
that's funny to
And
me, but I don't know if Nintendo
invoking
considers
of
that a
the Holocaust
positive.
required there.
But speaking about funny, our gaming topic this time is we're going to talk about our funniest moments we've had in gaming, and we won't mention any of our friends' names. So, I know Brian and I have had some very humorous moments in gaming. Most of them involve Street Fighter or some type of shooter where I back up into the power-up thing and blow up like an idiot. But John, do you have any funny moments in gaming? And no, you cannot say Daikatana.
I think the most consistently funny moments in gaming are all shooting people in the balls. That's always a good time.
Like the Stronghold demo
Stranglehold.
or Stranglehold demo.
It was a good time in GoldenEye.
Man, that was sweet. I
Soldier
gotta
of
say, if
Fortune?
you can
Yeah.
slow mo and shoot somebody in the balls and they explode in blood, that's always entertaining.
This is funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
You'd have to play the demo. It's so cool.
You had to be there. It was great.
I was really surprised how responsive the game was to just wherever you shot the guy.
Oh, like in was it Metal Gear Solid 2? Well, except that I don't know if that was funny or not.
I think Soldier of Fortune was the one that really brought that into the limelight.
So we've turned into the Shooting Balls podcast. It's basically.
Yeah.
Well, give that a shot. Yeah.
If you can do it, it's always funny.
Shooting people in the balls podcast.
And what do you feel is funny, Steve, other than shooting people in the balls?
I don't have a whole lot of really funny. I mean, the only thing I can really think of is the time when we were playing Battlefield 1942 Desert Combat and Walker flipped our cargo helicopter on the pad.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was
Well,
pretty funny.
there was that one.
How do you flip the rotor that fast? I'll never know.
I know, you just went, whoop, just you flipped the thing over and landed on its top on the landing pad. It was pretty cool.
Well, there was that one moment in.
Didn't help our team very
Did
much.
you get a
but it was
negative
pretty
4 for killing everybody?
funny. Imagine. Team
Well,
kill.
There was
So,
that one
imagine.
moment that you guys were playing Gears of War and you were on that train level.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty
We
funny.
got hit by the train.
Where it's like, where were you won by the other team walking in front of the train?
Well, they weren't familiar with the map, and they're like, "Oh, there's this,
How could
big
they not be
groove
familiar with
that's,
the map? Walker plays the thing constantly.
Well,
We
they-
saw
they-
the train go by. I believe it was because they're in combat, and I think I actually died by getting hit by the train because I was chainsawing somebody on the other side at the time.
sure it was
So there
you?
wasn't
I
a
thought
lot
it
of
was.
movement.
Did you
There
die
were
on
two
that
of
one?
us that were on the train. I was chainsawing
Yeah,
somebody
there
at the time.
oh.
The train came by. It's like, well,
There were
At
two of
least
us
he's
on
dying
one
too.
side. Oh, no, it was a 3v3 map because the
It
three of
was.
them
They
were
were all
across the
3v3,
way.
but there was like one guy
4
with like.
versus 4.
Was it 4v4?
We only had 6 players.
Yeah, we only had
right,
6.
but it was
Up
like
to 8.
that's it, because 2 guys died and then one guy was back behind some things and we just sat
Yeah.
there and fired at the position they were at until they.
Yeah,
poked
he
their head up
peeked
and
out and
died.
I popped him in the head.
It was just like, well, let's just pour some ammunition at that
We had
place
number
until
2
somebody
to
dies.
1, because I remember we had to sit there for like 10 minutes watching you guys both like.
Stick your head up, motherfucker! Come on!
and then the
Because
train.
nobody was willing to run forward on either side.
Not after seeing that train massacre.
Yeah.
It was like that was reason enough to
gotta
stay
stay
where
over
you
here.
were.
Stay over here is the thanks.
And then the train thing became the whole candlejack of.
yeah, it's
of,
like, hey guys, let's go over.
oh, hey, where's this train coming from? So, I remember, I think it was you, Brian. You came over to my house and you brought a shooter for the Saturn. It was like a 3D shooter. And the whole game was in English. And there was an announcement from like one of the in-game players saying something about there was a enemy ship that was coming behind you, and you started like going up and down just trying to find where the ship was coming from. And then the ship like came from behind you, and you heard this metal boink, and you like bounced off the top of the ship.
You couldn't tell where it's coming from, man.
I don't know why that was funny though.
I don't either. Maybe it was just a sound effect.
There was that
the fact that one of the programmers went, let's just make them bounce off the thing if they hit it. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
Like a little metal twink.
And there was that fighting game, I think. Was it? Yeah, it was a fighting game where they misspelled KO.
Yeah, that's SNK quality right there. It takes a lot to misspell stuff like that, but somebody achieved it.
Misspell it.
God.
Wasn't that one of the ones where they spelled it K-A-Y-O?
No, they didn't even spell it that way. Was
it K-N-O?
No, I think they tried to like make it Japanese, so they like did K-E-I as K.
Oh, K-O. Yeah, like KO Squadron.
Yeah, and it's
Fighting
like
Squadron,
Y-O-H or something like that. I'm like, what?
Is she sure this isn't Korean?
So, but most of our funny moments, I think, come from all like platform games. Fighting games, not so much. Platform games.
I think some of the funniest moments I remember are playing Mario Party games. Just the things you did to each other in those mini games were just hilarious.
Well,
there were so many stupid ways to die in so many of those. It was you were more worried about dying yourself by doing something stupid than getting killed by your opponent.
And Penny Arcade, like last week hit it. It's like it was like a couple weeks ago where Gabe was playing Penny Arcade and was playing Mario Party, and he was like cursing it out. It's like, okay, why the hell are they giving me this star? It's like, this makes no logical sense.
It's
like you're getting a star because...
Fewest stars? Star! What the fuck?
Well, you had so few in the game, we decided to give you an extra. Thanks for playing.
A pity star.
It's like, it's an honorable pity star.
I do like the rant for that one, because it's like, yes, it prefers to play games where you actually have an impact on the proceedings.
Wow.
Your impact wasn't there, but it wasn't forgotten. It was like, thanks for showing up, star.
Well, the whole game is just totally random.
Hey, it worked for Phantasmagoria.
No, it didn't.
Some would say yes, some would say no.
Something happened.
And Phantasmagoria was a
Phantasmagoria. You clicked once and the game happened.
Oh crap! What did I do?
No, there was 7 disc swaps in the middle.
That is true. But
yeah,
still.
but you just turned up the speaker loud enough so you could go make a sandwich or 70.
Myst was a pretty funny gaming moment. Oh, wait.
Yeah, and then it died.
No, it didn't. It's coming. Nope, it's still coming out. On the Wii, probably, at some point.
I think some of the funniest gaming moments come from glitches in the games. Things where you blow a guy up and suddenly you see his body sticking out of a solid wall, but his head's missing. Or I've seen so many oddball glitches like that where they're just things that were probably impossible to find in the beta testing, but somebody like myself would manage to find them walking through a game. I was doing that. I was over at Steve's house one night, and it was right after he'd gotten one of the Buffy games for the Xbox. And he was like, yeah, check this out. You might even like this. And I said, I don't like those games normally. And I sat down and played it. And I'm like, this one's actually pretty well designed. The features move well. It functions well. The fighting's kind of fun. And sure enough, I go inside a house, and I get stuck in the wall after killing a guy. And I'm like, God damn it, if there isn't a glitch in the game, I'll fucking find it.
Like 3 times, and I never...
What now?
You never saw that glitch.
Was that the second one?
First one.
First one.
Second one had kind of a crappy fighting interface. Better graphics, crappier fighting interface.
Yeah.
Well, it balances it out. No, wait, it doesn't.
No,
also less of the original voice actors too, so it's kind of like it doesn't really.
It was like this was not a necessary sequel.
I mean, it had kind of a cool plot, but
would have been cooler if they got the original cast and the original programmers and stuff.
They had the same. I think they had the same programmers. It was published by something else. Same studio, published by someone else, but less of the original cast and less good voice acting for the people that weren't from the original cast.
Yeah.
They had a couple of people that were really good voice actors who could fake being the original cast, and unless you listened really hard, you couldn't tell it was.
Yeah.
But they got somebody to do Allison Hannigan for the second one. She didn't sound like Allison
Yeah,
Hannigan
it didn't
at
sound at all like her.
It's like, skip. Skip. Oh, good. More crappy fighting.
It's bad when you start looking for the Japanese language track on a Buffy game.
On an American game.
Well, there was what site was it? It was Sean Baby, I think, had the greatest crotch shots in video games.
Yeah.
It started off with Ring King, and it went downhill from there.
It never went uphill. What are you talking about?
Well,
That topic was doomed from the start.
I think the best one was probably RE4.
Oh, yeah, when you had to push her up the ladder and she caught you looking at her. Oh, God, that was
yelled
funny.
at you. That was hilarious.
Tell us more about this. Did it make you feel special inside, John?
I thought it was great that a Japanese game was chastising its players for looking at panties.
That was kind of
It's
unusual.
ironic.
It's
Kind of a hypocritic if you think about it.
it's ironical.
It's an ironical debacle.
I also like to mention that Rise of the Robots is a pretty funny moment in gaming.
That's dark humor.
Same could be said for Time Killers, for that matter.
Oh, my God.
Nothing like chainsawing a guy's head off in a cartoon.
Well, the whole thing was that you could kill anyone at any time, and all you had to do was like keep hitting the head button until you sawed off their head, and it was instant death, regardless of how much life they had.
Yeah.
I mean,
Game was not well
just
designed.
really bad. Now, I remember funny moments in 8-bit gaming because you really couldn't tell what was going on.
Yeah.
So when people were getting blown up, it looked a lot different than what it should have been.
Hey, Custer's Last Stand. That was a great time.
That was my first thought when he brought the topic up earlier. It was like, yeah, nothing like banging an Indian.
That wasn't a funny moment.
Tied to a pole.
More of a sad, pathetic moment in gaming history.
Well,
You'd have to see the video clip to really appreciate it.
no. There's nothing to appreciate.
We'll appreciate the irony of it.
It's like Lego rape.
You're supposed to go over there and tie up an Indian, and it's probably not exactly what you're doing.
No, okay. You have to think. Well, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but you have to think of the premise of the game. Okay, so you have the Indian woman, and she's tied up at the pole, and your job is to walk to her naked, bang her to get points, and avoid the arrows. Now, think about this for a minute. She's at a pole, naked, tied up. The arrows have to be coming from somewhere. Oh, it's coming from the Indians, which means, we're going to tie up one of our wenches and, lure you to come to us, and we're going to try and shoot you with arrows.
It's the very first instance of it's a trap.
It probably wasn't Geronimo's greatest idea, but
I'm going to throw a barrel at it, yeah.
Oh, man, speaking of funny things, I don't know where I saw it, but I think it was Kotaku a couple days ago. They had a video clip on YouTube that somebody posted that was like a bloopers reel that the guys at Intellivision had put together. And it was just something they did on their own spare time. It was kind of like a home movie they did in the office. It was actually pretty fucking funny. I was surprised. They were talking about how great it was to be programmers there and all the games they got to make, and their ideas were accepted and they were free-floating, and nobody really downcast them or limited them. And they're doing all these little slapstick things in the middle of it while it's happening. It was pretty funny, actually.
I think my favorite recent funny thing is the game publisher for what the hell is that? There's the Fury MMO. The game publisher is Gamecock.
Oh.
Yeah.
They're named Gamecock.
Are they German?
No, they're Australian.
They must have seen the popularity of the Wii and wanted to cash in on that one.
They did. They're called Gamecock.
It's a good fit, I guess.
Has there been a game that's...
Gamecock.
They're a little bit better with the Wii and Cock Ring, but
yeah.
Is there
I wonder
a
if they're
game
going to
that...
start coming out with Wii games.
That'd be funny.
Is there
there's one coming out the end of this month.
Is there a game that...
They're called Gamecock.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Is there a game that's been intentionally funny that you've noticed?
Oh yeah, Kung Fu Chaos was hilarious. That game was a total parody in the sense of the way you played it and acting on a movie. I thought that was a great game.
Earthbound. has some
Earthbound.
very
that was
very funny moments, but it was very absurdist type humor.
Not for the majority.
Well,
I thought Robot Alchemic Drive managed to pull off some true hilarity.
now what game is this?
Robot
Rad.
Alchemic Drive? I showed it to you once. The voice acting was so awful, but they all knew it and were so over the top.
It was like a total cheese fest on purpose.
It was like a Working Designs game.
Spaz! The name says it all.
Well, that's it for the funniest gaming moments, unless you can think of a funny gaming moment that doesn't involve Daikatana or Rise of the Robots.
I could extend my my genre of funny games a little bit with God Hand. Does that let you kick people in the balls instead of just shooting them in the balls?
I need to pick up God Hand because I hear the game is made of awesome.
You can get it at Best Buy for like $20 or $30 right now. It's gotten fairly cheap.
It is funny. It's really hard, and it's kind of brutal in the way it does its difficulty. And
But that
not
poster
a fun
ad
way.
for it with the fist right through the guy's head was pretty cool, though. I gotta say, that was some neat
It's
art.
got its good points, but I don't know if I'd call it a good game.
I think it was more an experiment.
That'd be a good way to describe it.
Yeah, like Killer 7. Now that
In
had
a
some
sense.
funny moments. Oh, wait, no, it didn't.
Oh.
I'm actually looking forward to the new game by him, by Sudeki. No One Lives or
No More Heroes.
No More Heroes, yeah.
For Suda 51. Is
That looks
Suda
pretty
51?
cool.
Yeah.
I
Suda
really want to
50?
pick up the Samurai Champloo game on the PS2 that he did. Sounds
That
like
had some
that
neat
has some
graphics to
interesting
it.
ideas to it.
It's really cartoony, too.
Well,
Well, it was just animated in the same sense, rather.
all right. Well, moving on, we're going to do the gaming roundtable like we tried last time, except we're going to try to stay within some semblance of a topic, Steve.
Why?
But the table's round.
Well, that
Round,
much is
it
true.
means it has no limits.
Yeah.
It just goes on forever.
One for all and all for one,
Well,
and
the-
save Arthur, and yada, yada, yada.
Well,
I
the-
don't understand the point of limiting our creativity.
Well, the subtitle I had for
Monkeys.
this is Explorations in Righteous Indignation.
What?
But
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't
we-
get the big words.
Way to go on limiting our discussion to something you don't know.
Well,
what it
no,
means.
Yeah, you totally blew it up, man. Jesus.
Possible.
Much for a great
subject.
idea.
Well, the one thing I wanted to start off on was the G4 awards.
They're named Gamecock.
Well, I am
seriously, they
Well,
call
well,
themselves Gamecock.
okay.
They've got a head of a chicken in their logo, but they're called Gamecock.
Well, okay. Speaking about cock and the G4 awards, the G4 awards might as well have been called "Let's Suck Cliffy B Dry." That's basically what it was. It's like, ooh, the developer of God of War, let's suck his dick. I mean, Morgan Webb wanted to
Blow him in the background? Yeah, I know.
he wanted to play with his gamecock. Yes, that's exactly.
Gamecock.
All right now.
On the plus side, though, I think the reason that Cliffy B has been getting all this screen time is they found a game developer who was actually telegenic.
What?
And photogenic.
Wait. Are you saying game developers have no personality whatsoever?
Oh, they do. You just don't want to see it on
Yeah.
TV.
It's not something for the kids.
Yes, Will Wright is not one I want to see on TV.
I want to see him finishing his freaking game.
They really want to turn game developers into rock stars, and the main problem has been that they're game developers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how do you suppose they do that?
Well, they find the one that actually looks good on television and doesn't stutter.
It's like 15,000 Mick Mars and one Vince Neil. What?
This is the best analogy I've ever heard. Steve wins. All right. So point
You
goes.
win the podcast.
Point-
I guess
Congratulations.
somehow.
Okay,
You get a
point-
free copy of Megazone 23.
No!
Your free game
We should
cock
name
will
off
show
other.
after the show.
we need other 80s animated TV series that we
Got
would
the
want in the
highest
game.
Gamecock rating now.
And
My
Give
Gamecock
him a
is huge.
Gamecock hat. Place
Is
him
it
up on a
Xbox
pedestal.
huge?
Yes. Which?
why you were doing the Cadbury?
That's my Gamecock.
No, I thought you were doing the Cadbury bunny. You know, it would lay the chocolate eggs.
Gamecocks don't lay eggs.
Well, if their first game is bad, then they probably will. But the G4 awards very pointless. It's like, ooh, look, what's the popular game? Yeah, those are the ones that win.
So which one?
Gears of War 1, pretty much everything.
Well, that's better than average.
Thanks everybody else for showing up. Good night.
Could have just been sports franchises the whole way through.
Who cares? It's sports. Who cares? None of us play sports games except for maybe Brian.
I played a few, but yeah, I'm
Well,
not big on
you
most
can't
of them
admit
either.
you
I played
lose your
Blades
gamer.
of Steel.
Yeah, hockey games are actually kind of fun.
Blades of Steel has very little resemblance to actual hockey.
Well, it has more resemblance to actual hockey than ice hockey did.
Okay,
He's got a point.
here's the
there.
thing: if
Honest
you
Gamecock.
won the fight in Blades of Steel, the other guy would go into the penalty box.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome.
Do you think actual hockey should be run that way?
Yes.
It's just like Slapstick, the movie.
Hey,
played,
man, listen, in ice hockey, you just got the skinny guy, and you just ran around the rink, and everybody followed you for the whole game.
And how much did you play that game to death?
Oh, man, we just loved it. Because, like, once you got the thing, you cruised around the rink for, like, 10 minutes, and not a single one of the players would try to cut you off. They followed you all the way around the rink.
Was that your strategy to win against the computer?
No, it's a strategy to win against my friend.
Oh.
Never try and cut you off.
No.
Now you know why he got the Gamecock Award.
Well, the problem is if you didn't have the other skinny guy, you had, like, the normal average guy, or you had the fat guy. You either had Stan or Cartman. And you're running around with Speedy Gonzalez. And so, like, he's like, doom, 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 doom. And once you saw him, if he tried to cut you off, he just turned around and went the other way. You couldn't catch you ever, so.
I played the volleyball game once.
Was it DOA?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wait.
I digress.
John is immediately fired from the podcast tonight.
You are now officially not a sports aficionado.
Well,
I played some golf games.
Played, what was that one that
The
came
one on the
out?
360?
No, that was that one that competed, the PGA Tour one that came out for, like, the IBM XT.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow, I was right.
Did it have color?
yeah, it did. EGA.
I played a miniature golf game. That was actually kind of cool.
Was it
It had clips of
wacky
real,
golf?
It had clips of real commentators going, ooh, just a little bit off from the hole.
Except was that you got to heard that like 10 times?
Yes, they had like 5 sound clips.
Okay.
But it was still exciting because your computer was
it
talking.
Hey, there was that home run section on, was it Moedo Rival Schools?
Oh, Rival Schools.
You got the little mini games where you played soccer and baseball and
home run.
Well, there was that robot.
I got 6 of those in a row on that game, man. That was
the robot
awesome.
baseball game. What the hell was that called?
Robo-ball or Robo-baseball?
What was the robot football one?
Yeah, that was Cyberball.
Yeah.
Well, there was 2 different
cool.
robot baseball ones. There was the arcade one that was just kind of like you were a robot and you hit the ball. But there was like the NES one where like you could like you basically it was league play and you like the more you won the more you could upgrade your robots.
I think you're talking about Super Baseball 2020.
Could be.
There was also
like Neo
a
Geo,
great
I think.
football game on the arcade.
was,
I think it came to a console too. This is back in the late
console.
80s, early 90s.
It was
called
a
Pigskin.
non-expensive one.
And it was actually like an old Irish or Scottish football game where you actually had like pitfalls and things in the course. You could drive guys.
What do you
into
mean, like
take
Mutant
'em
League
out.
football?
No, this was called Pigskin.
Yeah,
it was
there
an old
was a bunch of them that
cartoony
came out at that
football game back then, but
All right.
There
hilarious
was like
game.
Graveyardage was
Okay,
also
so
one of
now
those.
that we're talking about all the sports games, we've come out of the sports game closet.
Well, no, you realize we're not playing like sports games. There's no Madden in this. It's we got these mutants, and you played a football with them.
Well,
you know?
Mutant League football was hilarious.
Well,
just for the blood factor,
I will admit that I did play Skate or Die at least once or twice on the
I had
NES.
that. Well, I put it on the
I played
Commodore
those on,
64.
I don't know. If
along
the
with
BNC search
along with
shop,
Epic's
counts
California
for
games.
sports.
Yeah. I
did a
ruined
lot
a
of
couple of joysticks with that.
I did a lot of surfing on my Atari Lynx.
Was that Gotcha the game on the NES?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I got quite good with surfing. In fact,
Well, what's kind of funny was so there was that 360 game, right? Remember 360?
Oh, you
Was
mean
the arcade?
720?
Yeah, with the 720 whatever. One of those
he
revolutions.
was halfway there.
where it was kind of funny because you play long enough until the bees started coming after you in that game, and then it actually said skate or die, and I was like, what, really? Because
What, are you
like
kidding
this has nothing to do with skate or die.
No, was that a trackball game?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I do remember that part.
Was
Was Paperboy a sport game?
No.
It was
That
after
was
you
a
knocked
job
some
site.
guy.
That was a part-time job simulator. Yeah.
It was when you knocked a guy in the head with a paper and he came running
Stop.
after
I
your
don't.
ass.
I don't know why that game was so hard either.
Well,
That game
because it
was
had
really
a handlebar
hard.
controller.
Well, it did, but it was like, why was that game hard? You
Because
just,
everyone went
you all
like
went-
90 miles an hour
yeah,
down.
exactly.
Instead of going at a
You
slow
needed
space.
some sort of grading curve for when you had to launch the paper to hit like 3
Yeah.
yards down because you were going so
You
flippin'
needed a
fast.
laser sight is basically what you
Yeah,
needed.
yeah.
Pilot bombardier, launch paper.
Yep.
So any other sports games you want to freely admit playing and Outrun does not count?
Karateka.
Well, if you call
Yeah,
skateboarding
karate.
a sports game, racing is a sports game.
Well,
Then I've played a buttload of fucking racing games.
I will admit of playing Turbo on the older.
Road Blasters,
Well, everyone played Road Blasters.
Sprint.
Stun Runner. Everyone played
Sprint.
Stun Runner.
Sprint was awesome. I spent many an hour
For some
on the
reason,
wheel
our
of Sprint.
stun runner always had a really bad coin thing.
Did you have to
always
sit
jammed
down on
up.
the bike
yeah,
one?
the sit
Yeah.
down one. Yeah, for some reason it just had a
Those
really
things wore out
crappy
so
coin
fucking
mechanism.
fast.
Yeah. And
I
Street
go
Fighter,
over there
that's a
and I'm
sports
like,
game,
token
right?
didn't go through, and they open it up, and there's like 40 tokens
killing
jammed in the
sport.
mechanism. You're like, what?
So now that we've come out of the sports games closet,
It's
and
not really a sports game. I mean, like,
We were kind of near the closet.
we were
put some posters up
Burnout
on
3
the
isn't really a
closet.
sports game because like you die most of the time playing that game. So
You really want to blow the car up most.
I think the closest thing I got to actually playing a sport game was Wave Race 64.
Oh,
On the
yeah,
Nintendo
yeah,
60.
yeah. I still got your copy at home.
I
I haven't picked that up since you gave it to me.
is F-Zero a sports game then?
Sport of the future.
Well,
Yes.
Yes.
Of the future.
Oh, hey, I
Well-
got a couple of horse racing games on my MVS.
Oh.
Stakes.
That's not a sport.
Oh.
well, if you're betting on
It's
horses,
the sport
not
of kings.
if you're betting on the horses, it's not a sports game. If you're riding the horse, then it is a sport.
No, you ride the horse. You
Oh.
try and get around the track, and then there's that.
How hard can it be to get around the track?
I got
It's circular.
about 5 or 6 horses in my car from World Championship Derby, the one you play at Dave and Buster's, where you slide the magnetic card through and you race your horse.
Well,
and
is
feed
that-
him and
Is that
That's
the one
the
with the really
Pokemon
big
of horse
setup with like
racing.
the plastic horses in the background that show your position?
No.
No, this is all lit up. It's all digital, and yeah, you have like 3 or 4 big fucking screens in the back, and there's like 8 of these connected together.
What was the name of
It's
that?
quite a neat game, actually.
That Sierra online game that had all the medieval tournament stuff. You know that one with us?
Joust?
No, not Joust.
That was a tie.
Joust is also not a sports game. What the hell was that game
Medieval
called?
tournament.
Remember?
I
You
vaguely
know what
remember
I'm talking
it.
about? And like at one point you had to actually try to joust, and it was like fucking impossible to joust on that game.
Oh, man.
I have to remember what it's called. I have to look it up.
Yeah.
Wikipedia time.
So,
Hopefully EA hasn't gotten to it.
So what was our topic?
well, that's the whole thing with the roundtable.
There's
No, we started talking
it's
about.
round.
Putting our own spin on
Yeah,
things.
we talked about our limited
Gamecock.
No, not our limited
Damn.
gang. Our limited
Gamecock,
exposure to the sports genre.
It's Gamecock
okay,
limited.
Okay, John, racing, sport game or not?
I don't know. I'm inclined to think it's not really a sports game till it has like a real world license attached to it, but that's all kind of iffy.
I disagree. Sports. Definitely sports. You look
I
at
don't
all the
think
types of
I don't
racing
think
out there.
I don't think that like racing should be a sport.
Well, because like Burnout
Maybe it
is
should
like
be,
sports
but I
general.
think it is.
NASCAR is a sports game.
I don't know. When
I
you got to
don't
run
think that-
500 laps in an oval, I want to
Yeah,
see
but
you get in the car and
that's not
fucking
a
do that.
sport,
Because you got to
though.
endure like a motherfucker to be able to do that and
But
win a
it's not a
race.
sport, though.
I think it is. I
mean,
think it is a sport.
It's like saying darts is a sport. It's not really a sport.
Well, if you threw 5,000 darts in a day, I'd say
well,
the
then
same
it's just
thing.
you throwing 5,000 darts in a game, and if I do something that requires a repetitive motion over and over again, it becomes a sport.
Well, when it endures the hell out of you, yes.
Well, what if I, like-
that's masturbation.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. If I type for 12 hours straight, is it sport typing now?
Because like Hot Shots Golf, it's still a golf game. Golf is a sport.
What about outlaw
Maybe.
golf?
Yeah.
Well, okay, outlaw golf is not a game.
BMX, Triple X.
And you can't even go with something like, it's
Ride a
be
bike,
in the
see some
Olympics.
titties.
Yeah, I'm going to ride a bike and stop at the titty bar. Now that's sporting, baby.
I think that's called Friday.
Yeah.
Although, definitely, if it's in the Olympics, it's a sport.
Which
Does that include the steroid abuse?
Not the Special Olympics.
What's so special? Please elaborate, John.
The sport in steroid abuse is not getting detected.
Oh, so that'll be a perfect game for the Wii.
Yes.
Oh, are you going to hold the Wii to, like, one of your veins?
Yes. And there's like a little blob in your bloodstream that represents steroids, and the doctors who have a needle that keep trying to poke at you, and you have to move it away from the needle.
Well, you have to manipulate the Wii so they don't notice that you're spoofing the urine test.
You got to change your blood out faster than they can tell that the white cells have gone up.
I see.
That would be an awesome game.
Blood
Or at
doping
least
at
a
its
mini
finest.
game. It'd be like a...
The all-drug Olympics.
No, it would be in that Mario and Sonic game that's coming out, the Olympic game. That's Mario's outrunning Sonic? Excuse me? What? Huh? Baking powder? What?
It's me, steroid
Well.
Mario.
It's my
Sonic
stereo.
starts running, Mario fries him with his fireball, and then he wins.
It's me, Mario.
Pickle.
No, I wasn't using steroids at all. It was Luigi.
I just had a couple extra shrooms in my pocket.
It was in his pickle.
Okay. Why do you keep thinking he says pickle?
Because he does.
He does not say
He
pickle.
so says pickle.
There is nothing that resembles pickles.
Dude, I swear to God, I heard Clausen in there.
There's nothing in pickles in Mario.
I know there's not. That's why it
I
made
mean,
no sense
Yoshi
to me
is
all
the
the
closest
time.
thing that there is to a pickle.
It
in
never
the
made
game.
any sense to me why he said pickle.
He
not
gets into a
say
pickle
pickle.
quite often, but
It's
He
not,
says pickle.
it's not pickle. I'm sure it's something. I will pop in Super Mario 64. I'm pretty sure it does not say pickle.
It says pickle.
Oh my god.
I bring back some nostalgia.
What, pickle nostalgia?
Yeah, it just brings nostalgia.
Isn't
of
that
me
a
having
V-
to listen to that over
Isn't
and
that
over again.
downloadable on the Virtual Console for the Wii now?
Oh yeah, Super Mario 64 was like one of the first games.
Yeah.
Actually,
you could handily rebuy it on the Nintendo DS too.
Did you see Shinobi 3 came out this week?
and Super Metroid.
Nintendo?
And
Like,
Super
you can
Metroid,
rebuy
yeah.
old games?
They're getting some good old games on there finally.
Yeah,
I'd probably buy it if I didn't own it on my Genesis.
yeah. It's like I own the actual console. Why would I want to, pay
You
$8
you
for
can-
it?
Well,
Once
you're
again-
paying for the convenience of being able to pop on your Wii and
No,
play
it's for the convenience of the idiots who sold the game originally.
You can buy
Yeah.
Golden Axe again.
I didn't want to buy Golden Axe the first time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it was pretty cool back
I
then.
think it was much better on the Saturn myself.
It was a co-op beat 'em up.
It was.
Shadows
so
over
was Final
Mysteria?
Fight.
And Streets of Rage.
Well, Streets of
It
Rage
was
was
like-
a better game.
It was like Double Dragon with swords.
Oh God, I tried the Double Dragon on a 360. Jesus, that game's old. It was hard fucking then. It seems like it's harder
the original
now.
one?
Huh?
The original one?
Yeah, the original Double Dragon. You could download it. Oh my God, I played the demo of that the other night, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I
Nintendo to
putting
resend
myself
me
through
their
this again?
crappy version of Double Dragon. Like that was one of the things that always confounded me about Nintendo was that they reprogrammed the entirety of Double Dragon. It's a completely different game with the same license.
The only cool thing to come out of Double Dragon was its sequel. It was
Well-
called Rage of the Dragons.
Double Dragon 2
Came
the
out on
actual
the
arcade
MVS.
version,
The arcade
it's probably
is
one of the
fucking-
best beat 'em ups of that era.
When they switched it to a fighting game, it became a much better genre
Well,
right there.
the
It's
second
such
one
a good
did, not
game.
the first Double Dragon fighting game on the Neo Geo.
Yeah, the first one really was hard. The second try was just
Well,
beautiful.
the Double Dragon conversion for the Master System was actually surprisingly accurate.
Well, until you got to the two Obobos that you had to defeat. That
Well.
was difficult.
Yeah,
The fact that I remember that.
just don't get between them and you're okay.
Okay, there's
Boba-fied.
two bald, giant Chinese guys that are going to squish you. Yeah,
Chinks and
that-
Zens.
that is your Game Pro game tip.
Well, in Double Dragon 2, you could get through the whole game just by doing back kick for the entire game.
Well, that was kind of true for Final Fight 2. It was jump kick before they started figuring out, oh wait, maybe we should have the character lose energy every time you do the B and A together.
Do the special super-powered move with longer range than the enemy's attacks.
Yes. I still think best beat 'em up, Streets of Rage.
Yeah, no
Did
doubt.
really enjoy that one.
Battletoads, not so much.
Turtles
ROM
was a lot of
sites.
fun. The original TMNT.
I enjoyed Battletoads. I don't know what you're talking
Battletoads
about.
was just really fucking hard, though. That was a really
It was
hard
difficult,
game.
but it was
I think
fun.
the Turtles that came out on the Super Nintendo was awesome. The first one that used Mode 7 scaling, that game was hilarious. That was a lot of fun to play.
Turtles in Time. Best beat 'em up ever.
No, best beat 'em up ever, the Simpsons game.
That he's right. That's really close
It's-
too.
that was a lot of fun
the
to
X-Men
play.
one. The 4-player
X-Men.
I liked it except for the fact that they really needed to try harder to make those monitors mesh.
Oh, the three
Well.
together, yeah.
Yeah, but that
That
was
was on the, what was it, the 4 or the 5 player? No, it was
It was
6
six
player,
player.
wasn't
It was-
it?
it was
You
like
had the
it
one
took
on
up a
either
whole
side.
end cap.
well, it was a
Yeah.
max of 5 players because no one wanted to play Dazzler.
Well,
Sparkle, die. That's not working for you, huh?
sparkle.
Why the fuck do you put a character like that in a game?
Sparkle,
Why?
sparkle.
Well, what did they base that X-Men
At least
lineup off
Nightcrawler
of? Was
was
that like
cool.
when John Byrne was drawing it? What was going on there?
I bet they couldn't get the rights to use other characters. There must
It
have been
was a
something
Marvel
wrong.
game.
I don't know. Maybe she was easier to draw.
There was not. It
You
was
heard
just
nothing.
A gamecock crashed through the window. We had to
my
fight
God.
it off.
You're gonna make a 3D model of this, aren't you?
There's already
An
one.
actual
It's in their
game.
logo.
All right.
I
Anyways.
shit you not. Their logo is a chicken head.
Okay. Are you enthralled? Are you basking in
call
the
themselves
healing
Gamecock.
glow of the Gamecock?
I can't get over the fact that they call themselves.
Hey, next
Gamecock.
week's topic, funny game company names. There's got to be more than a dozen of them out there.
Yeah. Like Ion Storm. That's the funniest one ever.
All right, wrap her
THQ.
up.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah.
Wrap her up.
All right. Well,
Double bagger.
Tagger, toe
put
tagger.
it on your Gamecock.
Put it, double bag your gamecock.
Smack her with a gamecock.
Shrink wrap it.
That's what happens. That's what happens when Duke Nukem Forever comes out. Make sure you double bag your gamecock before you play this one, folks.
Okay.
Because it's going to rape you in the ass.
All right. Well,
Who
thank
knows
you.
what this thing's got in
Oh
it.
my God. All right. Well, thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio.
We hope
Yeah.
at some point again you'll listen to it and hear all about the gamecock.
Thank you for listening to Die Hard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.